For the prep for this podcast, I pulled up 5 AI product manager job postings that I saw on the old interwebs. And you know what they said?
Let me guess. They had the letters AI in them at the very least.
No. They said gather requirements, prioritize backlogs, talk to customers, define roadmaps.
Ooh, does that sound familiar?
Yeah, that's just a product manager. That's why it sounds familiar. And it's just copy-pasted with AI strapped to the hood.
Okay. But Brian, you can't tell me there's nothing different about managing an AI product?
I mean, if you want to have a nuanced discussion, yes, I can tell you there are nuances. Like a product manager who can't learn a new business domain, that's not a product manager. We don't have database product managers or microservices product managers. Your typical segmentation here is just marketing segmentation plus resume keyword padding.
So, okay. So you're saying that the market is, just making this up?
I mean, maybe. But I guess we're going to find out. All right. Welcome back to Arguing Agile. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. I am your host, product manager, Brian Orlando. And this is my host, the sorcerer of sticky notes, Mr. Patel, and business agility consultant to the stars. Sorry, I almost forgot.
To the stars.
To the stars. Today, we're talking about AI product managers. So by the end of today's episode, what we shoot for is we want the audience to be able to push aside the hype that comes from when companies slap AI onto the job of product managers and able to justify, budgeting, headcount, with all of the above. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what AI-specific skills on the job title are real and which ones are just repackaged PM fundamentals. That's what I'm saying. Fundamentals.
I think those in the audience that are mature PMs would remember this whole thing happening around the digital product manager theme not too long ago.
Mobile first,
yeah. Exactly. Right. So this is like, we're here, 2026. This is the new thing.
So whether you are job hunting as a PM, whether you're in a role looking to specialize or maybe push your boundaries, we'll have a framework here in this podcast. That's kind of our goal, is to have a framework here in this podcast about the difference between a legitimate specialized role and a boatload of buzzwords. It was very difficult to say boatload.
Boatload of buzzwords? A lot of hot air, basically,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Here is a fun experiment. Take any AI product manager job description that you find on the old internet, remove the word AI, and then read the job description to see if the job description still makes sense. And spoiler alert, I already did this. The majority of them do not make any sense. So exactly what are companies paying a premium for? Because I'm going to skip over just saying on paper, we all agree companies are paying a premium for the AI in the AI product manager part of those job roles.
Yeah, and indisputably there's evidence that can, pinpoint that as well, right? So what are they paying for? That's a good question. This is what the majority of this podcast is all around. It's just hovering around the difference between having AI as a prefix and not having AI as a prefix.
Right. So I did a bit of searching in between podcasts, and the AI product managers as a role, again, a role with AI slapped onto the front of it, bolted onto the hood, right? They make anywhere between 20 and 50% more than a comparable product manager quote on the outside. So is there something here?
Well, there's something here for the applicants. I mean, 20 to 50% is a significant uptake right there. If all it takes is 2 letters pre-pended to a few places in my resume, hey, sign me up. However, we're going to figure out what really is going on under the hood today.
So the main thing you're going to hear in this category that I'll just throw out right now at the early part of the podcast, AI is fundamentally different than normal product management because AI products are probabilistic versus deterministic. That's the main thing you're going to hear. Probabilistic versus deterministic. Over and over and over again, you're going to hear that in this podcast. First of all, Just want to throw it out now as the first point in the first category because it's meaningless to me.
You use the terminology that is prevalent out there in the industry, right? However, when you look under the hood, it's always been probabilistic. Even though it's deterministic, we cannot determine the outcomes of many things. It is with good intent that we deliver features thinking that they will deliver the value we think they will.
Right.
But that's not really probabilistic because we often don't have really the evidence that says they will probably like this. But we do have the leading indicators, I guess, from our pilots, if we did any, or any kind of market research that says we think they might like this.
Well, let's back up a second and talk about probabilistic versus deterministic. Okay, if we solve your business problems, if we solve your business problems in a deterministic way, that means we have mapped out your business flow and can do X, Y, Z and lead you to the solution. Whereas the probabilistic solution is we take all of the people that are potentially solving your business flow and we take the median of all those activities, and most likely the median of a lot of activities will solve your problem. Hopefully. I think that's really the difference here is I work with a lot of AI systems. Working as a developer type of working with
right.
AI systems and a little bit as a product manager in my career too. If you are relying, like if life or death is on the line and you're looking for a generative AI response to hook into for a life or death situation, I don't think the technology is there at that point to say like every time I get a response back from the machine, it's rock solid and we can bet the patient's life on it. No, if that's what we mean by probabilistic versus deterministic, is one is a roll of the dice, and the other one is a well mapped out path and flow to make sure that we come to a predetermined path. And yeah, I agree with this, which is, hey, they're fundamentally different. Is you shouldn't use AI for these things that are really, really important.
Yeah, I think for clarity's sake, we should define these terms, right? So deterministic means given the same inputs, you're always going to get the same outputs.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Probabilistic, on the other hand, means given the same inputs, the outputs may vary, and the variance will depend on the degree to which your models were trained,
right,
the types of models you use,
and the input,
the types,
of course,
the input, the quality of the input, the guardrails that you provide, etc. So there are variables there, right? But the upside is sometimes probabilistic will find paths forward that you didn't even anticipate, which is really the hope, right, behind going with AI in the first place. With AI teams, a product manager would require specialist skills, one would think, evaluating models or training models, etc., or at least having some awareness of how these models are trained. So I'm not suggesting that they're the ones that actually sit there and train the models. That, by the way, is a very specialist skill for data engineers, data scientists, etc. PMs should be at least aware of the domain, right? What are the implications of training specific models in specific ways? Where do you get your input from? How reliable are the inputs, etc.?
Yeah.
So with those definitions out of the way, life and death situations, I don't know about you guys out there on the interwebs. I would prefer to stay on the side of deterministic because I know what the output's going to be if it involves a life or death situation.
All right. Well, knowing what side you're on, that helps me defend the other side, which is saying like you just defined probabilistic versus deterministic. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, without making a statement on the business that we're in, that we decide it's okay to have probabilistic outcomes rather than spending a good amount of time on deterministic outcomes. We've determined that as a business that it's okay. So I'm going to put that in the against category. I'll put that aside to say, okay, you can't really like knock that because I'm not in the business of keeping people alive. I'm in the business of, whatever, filling seats on an airplane or whatever, whatever like things that aren't really
less drastic.
Yeah, they're not really that important. And then, which is probably a terrible example because you definitely can fill seats on an airplane in a deterministic way. And then the other free seats, when you're out of your deterministic seats, can be up to probabilistic outcome.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a terrible example. But the other one that you outlined was the managing AI teams and managing AI products. When it comes to model evals and training and building specific models, that's a different skill set than your general run-of-the-mill software development team would have. So that sort of lends itself in the against category is you kind of do need a product manager who understands, the team of data scientists may not necessarily be able to pump out a new model in a 2-week sprint or whatever, right? And maybe they can't even show progress at the end of 2 weeks in terms of like a finished working released product to the end user. They might need longer time boxes, and that might be a point of contention that other product managers might not understand. So those are 2 points. The other point here in the against is, hey, like the market demands this role. Whatever we're talking about might be like academic. People might believe it's academic because the market's demanded this, and
so it must be true.
So it is. So it must be true. So say we all. That's it. So those are some solid points. Some solid points came out of this one.
I agree. Yeah, in the against category. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the other side of this one, if I'm going to give any ground, the other side of this one, a good PM, good product manager, someone who's curious. They're looking to put themselves out of a job. They're a curious person. They want to know how things work, and they're looking to move on to the next bigger problem. So they're learning new domains and mastering like new areas all the time. So the idea is you get a good person who's curious, and there's no horizon here. Like even model evals and training new models, that stuff is not. It's in depth for certain. I'm not putting down data scientists and whatnot. That stuff is not working on rockets to launch and go into space. It can be learned in a relatively fast amount of time, and with tools, with open source tools, believe it or not, you can do training new models. You can grab an open source model off the shelf and train it yourself with the right, if you have the right video cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, I kind of concur with that. That these PMs that are worth their salt, they're the ones that float above the rest, right? These people definitely lead with learning velocity. They can learn these new technologies, these new ways of working, etc. So that's always been the case, though. Just because we have AI now, it's convenient to slot the AI title in whatever it is that's new and vogue now, but that's always been the case. Like I mentioned digital earlier, there were other fads, if you will. Not that they fizzled out. They were just kind of transitory, right? Blockchain, for example. So we've had these things before. And people that are really true PMs that know that they need to learn and will take steps to make sure that they're actively learning, they will have that in their PDP or whatever it is that's used these days. Right. Personal development plans. I'm not worried about the corporate side of it. They will always prevail. They will always be above those people that simply come in and say, I got to specialize into this now, because those people will be like going from pocket to pocket on a pool table, and then that's never a good thing.
Yeah, blockchain. I know that's an interesting one. The market demand in the moment for a title, again, only in my mind. Like maybe other people don't agree with this. Like it doesn't validate that that's a real title. The fact that like, you threw it in your LinkedIn profile, you got some traction for 8 months. Great. Like you're riding the wave. Maybe the selling point there is, Brian, all of tech is a wave up and down, and you just got to know when the wave peaks are happening. Grab your surfboard and paddle on out. You got to know when to paddle out. That's what we're saying in this category. When blockchain rises and the keyword searches on Google, you got to paddle out into the waves and then make yourself the blockchain expert. And then when the next wave crashes and the next wave comes in, you got to paddle out and become the AI expert.
I got Lilo and Stitch happening on each shoulder now. So with every wave, this happens. With every technological wave, this happens. So if you're in the picture and you've been there for X number of years, you would know this, right? And you should look ahead and say, hey, prima facie, I'm a product manager. I know the fundamentals of product management. Beyond that, it's digital, blockchain, AI, whatever's next. I know I can prevail, but there is a nuance here, and that is you cannot stand still. You need to learn the domain, you need to learn the language, you need to learn the concepts, But that doesn't mean you need to be the de facto expert deep down on any of this. You're not a crypto expert, right? You understand about blockchain and digital wallets and all of that, but you're not a crypto expert. Same thing with AI. You're not necessarily an expert on how to train a model. That should be a movie, but how to train a dragon.
How to train a model.
Yeah, but you understand the fundamentals. Is what I'm saying.
It's gonna be a boring movie.
I understand that. It's gonna be very boring.
It's gonna be a lot of math involved, and most people are gonna sign up. Okay, so there's a takeaway here. Let's quickly dip into it.
Sure.
So the takeaway is the next time that you see AI product manager in the job title, run away. Get a different one. Just kidding. Run a find and replace test. That's what I'm going to say. A find and replace test. So number one, I'm going to say remove every instance of AI from the job description, and then ask yourself, is this a coherent job? Was it written by a maniac? That's what I'm going to say right now. Where's Mike Miller? Mike Miller should be on this podcast right now.
Absolutely.
Dang, we always forget when we're down here. Is Mike Miller should definitely be here to say, was it written coherently by someone who understands what the AI decorator means, and it's actual differentiation in AI, not just slapping AI. This baby can fit so much AI inside of the job description that they just wrote a meme about it in job description format.
Just replace every instance of the letters AI with the word marble, and then look at it and say, what do I know about marbles? AI. What do I know about AI? Can I still prevail as a PM knowing what I know? And if you don't think you can, guess what? You have a delta. That's your homework. Same thing with the next fad and the next fad and the next fad. I mean,
so the number 3, the last thing here, look for responsibilities that only exist in the context of AI or whatever technology fad that might happen when people watch this. Fill in the gap here of whatever technology that you might be dealing with. Model evaluation criteria, data labeling strategies, bias auditing, whatever is popular at the time. Are these real things that you now have the call over for the whole business? Because if it is, then great. It's an AI product manager. Otherwise, it's just a product manager with some duct tape on it.
Transparent duct tape.
Transparent duct tape. Oh, what do you think? Have you seen AI product manager buckled onto the job description, or have you seen the job roles that you looked at for product manager? AI job roles? Have you seen them actually be different? Let us know in the comments if we got this wrong. Let us know in the comments if I'm wrong here, where maybe I didn't look at enough AI product jobs. That is certainly true. I might not have looked at enough of them. Because once I look at 5 or 6, I just can't look anymore.
That's a decent sample size, in my opinion. Yeah. Let's know if you've come across actual nuances where you believe that to be true, and we'll look at those separately, and we'll see if you want to deep dive into another episode on those ones.
Okay, so we've roasted the job description, but maybe it's time to be fair. Is there anything legitimate in these job descriptions that would make them different for managing an AI product as opposed to a regular product management product that a regular PM wouldn't already know? Let's steel man for a second, Ohm.
Steel man.
We love to steel man for a second. Let's think. If AI product managers really do behave different than traditional, I did air quotes.
Air quotes.
I did air quotes and completely evaporated a normal segment of the market that Marty Kagan wrote books about and Teresa Torres wrote books about. They're traditional now. You like that? AI. That's how segmentation works, kids. Yeah. Anyway, models, if outputs are probabilistic, I'm gonna keep
It's a stretch, but I'll let you keep going.
I'm gonna keep using that word. And if data is also a big part of the product, because again, we have data engineering. Bad data means, bad probabilistic outcomes. I said it again. I need a counter every time I say probabilistic in this.
Should be a drinking game.
Does that mean that you need a whole different kind of product manager? That's basically the question that we've asked so far. Or does it mean that you just need a product manager who does their homework and does all their extra credit assignments and turns them in on time? That's what I'm asking.
If I was hiring, I know which one I would hire.
Again, the Steelman arguments sound a lot like the arguments we have already heard. Yeah, AI outputs are probabilistic. Once again, I'm going to keep saying probabilistic. If I say probabilistic, enough times, number one, I lose the ability to say it. Number two, it loses all meaning if I just keep saying it over and over and over again. But if I'm going to say something that's not probabilistic, I don't even think I'm saying that word anymore.
Probabilistic?
Probabilistic?
Paralytic?
So
no, not yet.
You need to understand model drift. And you need to understand training cycles and retraining cycles. You need to understand fine-tuning. You need to understand things like that. Data quality is the product in an AI tool or in an AI-focused tool, like data quality. And then traditional PMs, like they don't understand precision and recall and like F scores and whatnot. They don't understand those things. They're not brought up on those things in your typical fintech SaaS software.
Wow, there's so much here. Probabilistic outputs.
I mean, there's so much, but I just said probabilistic 500
Five times, yeah.
That's right.
So probabilistic outputs are a new domain and not a job. So I say that, but I'm also reflecting on it as I say it and say, if you're a traditional, I'm using the words lightly, traditional product manager who was focused on precision, more than accuracy, or accuracy more than precision. Either way, you're looking at your data and you're still concerned with the data quality. You're still concerned about that because you wouldn't want to put out ambiguous stuff. What changes here is the data quality changes based on the car you're driving, the model and make. So whatever model you're using, the AI model, could sometimes significantly impact the data quality. Having the wherewithal to understand that and then having the authority to say, hey, I have a weird feeling. I don't feel quite comfortable under the collar about this. Let me validate that by using a different model. It sets apart the product manager with AI chops. I didn't deliberately say AI product manager because I still don't think that's a thing. But a product manager that is concerned about how AI impacts the quality of their products. So if you're looking at this sort of thing, left and right, and you're taking that into your stride, I think you're fine. I don't think you can go wrong as long as you, again, to double down and double click what we already said. You're learning these things as you go. So you're learning with your learning velocity, right? Some of the fields already manage non-deterministic behaviors anyway.
Sure, yeah. Healthcare, right? Definitely, yeah. Right.
Finance is another one.
Pharma, like there are quite a few that already handle probabilistic outcomes. Like the old bell curve of X percentage of patients are going to have these outcomes, but there's a field of statistics in this, which is like it's wild to talk about it out loud. The stock market is something that nobody's ever seen before AI.
Yeah. People talk about spreads all the time. If you don't know about that, you really should know about that.
You should know about that because the American economy is being held up by gambling right now. So
Absolutely.
You should
held up at gunpoint, I thought you were going to say. That was the G word I thought you were going to use.
They are being held up by gunpoint, by gambling, by gunpoint. Anyway, none of that can stay in the podcast.
There's so much out there that's already non-deterministic. If you don't know about that, two things, right? If you don't know about it, you should definitely go learn that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you know about it, you're already well on your way to becoming a savvy product manager who can handle what AI throws at you.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, if you already know about that, you just keep your mouth shut and happily employable and continue being employable.
That too.
And you don't make a big fuss about it. Like the AI people, understanding precision versus recall versus whatever, model training versus whatever else. Those skills can be learned in a week or two.
Very quick order. I think you're right. But again, that predicates the fact that you have appetite to learn, right? The curiosity, that you are open to learning new things. You're not simply sitting back on your laurels and say, I know, I'm a product manager, Brian. I can handle anything.
Sure.
I know I've handled digital, I've handled Bitcoin, and now I can handle AI. Yeah, guess what? Not so, right? This is a different beast. It has a different number of horns, or however you want to say this, but you just need to have that hunger to say, let me learn about this, how it impacts my product, how it impacts my customer. And based on that, you're willing to switch things up. And that's really what it's about, I think. The real skill is in translating those technical constraints into user value, right? Which, if you think about it at the core, isn't that what all PMs do anyway?
It basically is, yes. Translating the domain, technical or otherwise, into business value, into business language, right? Yeah, that's basically what PMs do. Thanks for coming to the podcast. All right, well, that's it. Good night. Yeah, right. Yeah,
don't go anywhere.
Yeah,
we're not done yet.
I mean that doesn't sell ChatGPT subscriptions or make the AI domain more alluring.
True.
So you're not going to find a lot of people with that nuanced take that it's just a tool and it's just adding your tool to the resume.
Right.
Yeah, like you're not going to win friends with that attitude. And I'll thank you to get out of my office. I think about this one like I think about any technology that's come into the stack over the years of, you want to be open to the new technologies. You want to be open to, not only do you want to be open to the new technology, you want to be open to learning about new technologies, giving your folks time to adopt them and to figure out how to apply them to what you're doing today. And like not a lot of businesses have time built into their schedule to test out new things. AI probably because of the pure amount of marketing dollars spent on it. Probably has more, but boy, like I can't imagine that the majority of just regular, insurance companies or fintech companies or whatever have, we're going to break off 25% of today's, of this week's sprint to say that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, your team is going to be free from working on all their work items to just figure out what the latest, hottest tech is. Most companies barely have time to even work on tech debt or, clean up or things that they didn't do 2-3 sprints ago.
I think most companies will probably land at a spot where they will say, look, we hired these people to give us training. Oh, by the way, sorry, it wasn't in your time zone, but we recorded that. So go watch the recording, i.e. in your own time, right? On top of your 8-hour, 10-hour day. Yeah. So you can imagine the effectiveness that yields in the end. But let's come back to individuals as PMs.
Yes.
Look at this and say, what are some of the takeaways out of this particular segment of our podcast?
The takeaway right away for me is going to be if you're a product manager and you see the company hiring for an AI PM and they're hiring 50% over what your salary is, you know what I mean? Because they put the job description up and you're looking at it and you're saying, oh my goodness, like what is happening here? Like look at it. Look at the 5 AI specific skills that they list. Like the things that are listed by name in the job description that you don't have in your job description. There's probably at least 5 of them, AI specific skills. And then look at those things. What are they? Model evaluation, data pipelines, data cleaning, bias detection, model evaluation.
Data labeling.
Look at what they are.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself, I have some things on the screen here. And then ask yourself, can I learn this in a week of studied focus? Like of a dedicated studied focus? 2 hours every day at the end of your day, at the beginning of your day, whatever, however you can work it in. Is this something I could learn? I say a week. Whatever, 2 weeks, don't kill yourself.
I think reasonably 2 weeks, right?
And then compare that learning curve to if you ever had to switch industries to get your product management job, or if you had to switch teams, or if you were a product manager and you switch teams and you inherited another product, or sometimes product managers split,
right?
Take up the slack for other people and stuff like that when people leave. Is it really any different learning these skills than the last time that you learned a different product or a different discipline in your product? Because if it really requires you to go out and run out and get a PhD as opposed to whatever degree you have now, then okay, sure. As a product manager, I bet it's not.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to add a little bit of nuance in there as well. So maybe you are just finding yourself in a slightly different domain after perhaps, an illustrious, successful stint with a yet different domain, right? So that happens sometimes.
Sure.
They just say, we've reached this point where you've been great at this stuff that you do. Now we want you to come in and do your magic over here. So you learn the new domain. So to your point, is it any different? 2 weeks, I think, is a reasonable time. It just is contextual, folks. It doesn't have to be a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Can you reasonably quickly equip yourself with the skill sets? What is different about this? right? Just tagging on to the back of your last statement there. What's different from the last time you switched industries or product types? I've added business domains or whatever. The difference is now you have all these different avenues available to you to learn that didn't exist back then, right? So you have online training, you have all these things. You can even just hit up AI to give you a nice, manageable for you syllabus that you can follow, and also the content that you need to follow in order to reach the outcomes that you need. You just need to specify the outcomes and say, how do I get there in a reasonable time frame, 2 to 3 weeks, and it's going to spit out everything you need. You didn't have all that before.
Right.
So you're much, much further along and luckier for the technology that we are faced with today. You should have no excuse for not trying this if you're a product manager that says, hey, I'm looking at this 20-50% more that people are offering for this label. What gives, right? You can figure that out for yourself.
I'm going to say you probably can figure it out, because that's probably what everyone else who's applying for those jobs do, is they figure it out and then just throw it on their resume as I did it at my last company because that's where I figured it out. Not saying people lie on their resume, but hey.
Some people are being economical with the truth, Brian. That's what I'm saying.
Economical with their gas mileage. Hey, if you have a strong take on this category, let us know in the comments. Let us know what the hardest part of learning AI products is that regular PMs, they just can't cut. They just can't cut it. Let us know what it is. Let us know if we're wrong. I really am interested to know if I'm way off base here. And also stay tuned, because our next debate is going to be on why companies keep inventing these roles to throw at people on their job descriptions, on their LinkedIn Fast Apply, or what is it called? Quick Apply, Instant Apply. What's it called in LinkedIn? I can't remember. The don't bother applying because we don't read these. Anyway. So if the skills are learnable and the job descriptions are all made up and fake, sorry, I was going to say all the same. Why are companies all creating these roles? Why are they doing that? So if an AI product manager is basically just a product manager with a couple things bolted on, then why are companies posting thousands of these roles? Is it ignorance? Is it a strategy? Or is it just signaling to investors in the board that you are, quote, doing AI? Like, quote, doing Agile. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah, the rabbit ears. Listen, I'm a fan of that last one. I'll tell you why. I've seen it before, and I've seen it before that. Way back when the internet bubble was a thing. A lot of people won't remember that, but especially Gen Zs, Gen Zers.
Welcome to school, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Gen Zers won't remember that.
Have a seat.
It was a thing when I was driving my imaginary Porsche home every night from the dealership. Different color, different models. When everything was said and done and the dust settled, I had a bunch of papers to put on my fireplace. Okay, wasn't worth a thing. Those were my stock options. So The Hype Machine was a book written by this guy Sinan Aral around that time, actually, right after the bubble burst, right after the internet went belly up around 2020. He explores how hype cycles drive the way organizational behavior and hiring patterns emerge, independent of what the actual needs are.
Sure.
So what's ironic about this is two things. One is he wrote about it 26 years ago. It's still true today. But also the other thing is it keeps raising its ugly head every now and then, right? And yeah, we talked about Bitcoin. It happened then. If you didn't know about Bitcoin or crypto, you are done for as a product manager. Likewise, look, it's not just product managers, right? But primarily this podcast centers around that role. But
I think we need a counter in the upper right about every time we say blockchain. I think that's
yeah. Again, it should be a drinking game.
If you don't know blockchain, you're not going to have a career in 3 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, blockchain.
Right. So companies who were doing that at the time wanted to be seen as the leaders and forward thinkers, right? Nothing different now. People are still wanting to do that. However, I will wager my next paycheck, most of these companies actually do not understand what that means themselves. It's just that they're looking at all the salmon, swing upstream, and that's the direction they have to go in. So if you're a product manager, look at it swim upstream or downstream in this way. Our position, at least my position on this, is recognize where you are first. This is not the one-time thing that's happening suddenly all of a sudden. It's one of those things that's going to die out the next thing will come up. So ride the wave, right? But the hype machine is real. So companies need to be seen to be forward thinking. Their financial statements that they come out with are forward-looking statements. And then they're always underpinned by the disclaimer, right? Past performance is no guarantee of future results.
That's true.
Right? So again,
that's
the
what they
whole
tell me.
stock market goes along with this, by the way. Everyone does this, from IBM all the way down to 5-people companies.
Right, so let me try to summarize.
Yeah,
quickly
please do. It's a big diatribe I was on
some
there.
of your diatribe. I enjoy a good diatribe. I'm usually on the giving end, not the summarization
Not the
end.
receiving end.
Not the summary end. So companies need to signal AI competencies to their investors and the general market, even if the general market and their investors are dumb. All right, so sorry. I know that was not the way you would put it, but
I probably would put it that differently. So investors and shareholders, same thing.
Listen, they're watching the news. They're watching the CSI Miami. They want it, the language they hear on TV. They want to see it in the company, reflected of we're on the cutting edge. We're using all the latest, hippest terms.
We're probabilistic, Brian.
We're six, seven,
or even ballistic.
6, 7.
I don't know.
In the same breath as I will say that, I would also say we need to align our job titles and roles to the edge of the market to attract the hottest talent. Hottest with a hard H. Hottest talent. I don't know what that means. And then that helps them. That helps them kick off and organize their industry leading / AI. That's what I really mean by industry leading initiatives, because they got all those people in a bucket over here, and they spin them all up, and they're all attracted to this shiny object that the company is promoting because that's what they think everyone wants.
These companies really, the perception is kind of what they want to make reality. So they want to hire people that have quote unquote pedigree. So they're looking at hiring people that say on their LinkedIn profiles, ex Google, ex Meta, ex this, ex that. No, seriously, I've seen a trend of that, especially now in the wave of AI. Oh, these people excelled over there. That's not the EX that they left with.
That's gonna be the thumbnail right there. Ooh.
Right. So I just look at that and say, well, they're ex Meta and ex Google, probably for a reason.
Ex Amazon.
Ex-Amazon.
There's lots of people that are ex-Amazon right now.
Sure thing, yeah. So the companies want to be seen as forward thinkers, hiring people that are the best of the best of the best in the AI field. And that makes the shareholders and the stakeholders, feel better, right? I mean, these companies are leading, right, in this new wave of working in AI. So that's really the perception that they want to make reality.
I'm gonna have a hard time on this podcast defending the other side because I think you just did it right there. Signaling AI competency through changing your job descriptions and your job roles and your titles. The titles is a big thing for this. We have a director of AI strategy now, or a VP of AI strategy now. That's a big way that companies signal that they're headed in this bold new direction, actually without actually changing a single thing at all, or actually having any AI strategy. I know you're going to be surprised when I say this, but companies do this. Companies do this all the time with their chief product officer, where they get a salesperson or an operations person who was a big VP or whatever at this other company. They get them in. They've never worked product in their life. And now they're signaling.
CPO.
They're signaling. We do product. We do product here. They're signaling AI competency through a job title.
Yeah.
But that is theater. That's Marty Kagan's product theater. Front row seats. That's all that is. Specialized titles that fragment your PM org. Right. Job AI product manager, back of the house product manager, strategy product manager, database product manager. All that does,
I get it.
All that does is it introduces silos in your product management
made up ones
organization. Silos for no reason. I mean, it might not be for no reason because of people you hired as the AI PM. They might have been people that interviewed well for those positions that claim that they worked, but have never actually worked in. I mean, the higher up you go, the worse it becomes, right? So I don't need to keep I don't need to keep beating this dead horse on the podcast because
it won't die though. But yeah, I get you.
It won't die. But if you invent a job title and then invite your friends to apply for that job title because they play a mean round of golf or whatever, yeah, of course it's not going to die.
Right.
You can make up whatever job title for your friends at all. Just call them something not product. Call them something else. Please save my career field and call them something not without product management in the title, without product or manager in the title.
Special operations or whatever, special projects.
Sure. It used to be called special projects.
Yeah.
Back in the day, yeah. But now those titles have fallen out of favor because rightfully they mean nothing.
Right.
And everyone saw right through them, so they just retitle product, and now product's getting degraded because you're an AI product manager. That's completely different. We can't use any of the skills that normal product managers have. We need this special skill. But it's you attract better candidates by describing clearly real problems that you need real skill brought by real people who have real experience, rather than a collection of like a roll of D20 worth of buzzwords and throw it into the job description. Because your HR people writing these job descriptions, they don't know either way. They have no idea. By
the way, neither do the applicants that are using AI tools to apply for these anyway.
Sure.
So it's a loss situation right there.
Thing that you pointed out very early in this podcast is when the wave moves on and all these titles deflate, when nobody wants to hire any blockchain people anymore. You did a lot of rejiggering of your identity and your resume and your experiences to fit into this new mold, and boy, it would have been better to anchor on real problem. I mean, maybe this is not a great point.
I think it's a great point. I mean, this is going to keep coming back up like a sine wave every so often. So I think it's a good point.
No, I say maybe it's not a great point because the growth people at about 2016, the growth people is, I'm a growth product manager. They found a segment in the market that they can carve out to be product managers can't do product manager. And then they dropped the product manager because they segmented so well.
Yeah.
They dropped the product manager and now they're just growth.
I think there's a parallel there to what's happening now, though, right? I mean, now you have AI product managers, and they may just drop product managers and say you're now the AI strategist or whatever, AI specialist, the AI wizard.
They could. I kind of hope they would. Because then they would stand alone,
right,
in their niche with just their accomplishments and not hijacking another career field. I kind of wish they would. That's not going to happen. Sorry, boy, I wish that would happen. But before you create, or if you're a hiring manager, before you approve any AI-specific role, no matter what that role is, I have a couple things that I would caution you to ask. Okay, number one would be, will this person do this AI-specific thing that the product managers, the existing product managers, can't do after their first 30 days of onboarding? Or after their first 30 days of onboarding, will they continue to do everything that every other product manager here in the organization does? So is it all the rest of the stuff that the PMs do, plus a couple little AI things? Because in that case, you're paying somebody 50% more to do things that potentially are learnable, number one. Number two, are we creating this title because of a real capability gap? Because sometimes that is true.
Right.
That you just don't have the skill at all in your organization. I could see if you're trying to hire an AI PM whose job is to teach your whole organization how to use AI to their benefit and embed it through the whole organization. And it's like an internal tools type of PM, like that, like the way I got my start as a
Jira admin.
Yeah, you're like a Jira.
Sorry,
admin. but like for internal tools, and your job is to like spin up, because that's one of the places that AI has really found its niche in modern businesses, accelerating back office type of repeatable tasks.
Sure.
So if that's your job, then I understand it, and there's probably a real capability gap in that you're not breaking off time for your internal staff to learn AI, so you bring this internal person on. They're kind of a product manager, they're kind of a coach, they kind of accelerate your move to adopt new skills. Great. That is great. A lot of people are not just doing that. You're that, but you're also a normal PM at the same time. And then the last thing I have here is what's the roadmap 3 years down the line for this person's career?
Willing to wager that most organizations have no idea. 3 years is, so what used to be medium term was 5 years back in the day, and long term was 10 years or so. Up to 3 years, that was near term, right? Right now, 3 years is long term.
3 years, yeah. I was gonna
and
say,
nobody knows anything that's going to happen in 3
is
years.
the distant future. The distant future,
Yeah.
the year 2000.
The first point you made, though, about, what will this person do that our current PM cannot do after, let's say, a month of being on the job, right? That's the question. Is it real or is it Memorex? So maybe your product managers might have been fine if you just gave them a little bit of training on the new tools, the new AI capabilities, etc. You just don't know that till you actually try it. So if you're a hiring person and you think, oh, we need to, offer commensurate compensation to attract these new skill sets, just look at your current batch and say, can we enable them a little bit first? Maybe just you'll come out the same if you just reward them for it instead, but you'll save a lot because onboarding costs are real. The opportunity costs, that time spent, etc. These are all real. So think about that for a bit.
Yeah. Think about how has your company created an AI version of any existing role, like whether it's product or developer or whatever else,
right?
And then how's it going? Is it the same role with extra money? Are they doing a lot more work? Are they producing better results for customers? Right? How's it going? Let us know in the comments, is what I'm saying, and we'll wait.
Yeah, but not very long.
I mean, hey, I've got I could do this all day, is what I'm saying. So we've covered why companies create superfluous roles. Now we're going to talk about the person on the other side of the job posting. We're going to talk about, if you're a PM right now, should you be worried or should you look at rebranding yourself? That's right, you can call yourself the blockchain agile coach.
X-blockchain.
Oh, sorry, X-blockchain. So if you're a product manager, you've probably felt the pressure. Your LinkedIn feed is full of people adding AI to their headline. LinkedIn influencers are selling AI PM certifications for $625. Hashtag buy my book. That's right. Sign me up. Sign me up. You can buy my book. And then, so here's our category. Should you play the game and rebrand and call yourself Blockchain Patel, or should you hold the line? Because love isn't always on time. That's what Toto taught me.
Lovely song. But yes, there are plenty of them out there. So what should you do? Stay tuned, because we're going to get into this right now.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, what should you do? Be a thought leader.
Oh, no.
You gotta lead thoughts or thoughts. Never mind. It never comes out clean when I say it.
Yeah, I know. You got to be a leader in the shower. Thought leader.
Ooh, follow me for more tips. So we got a great book, Inspired. Marty Kagan, How to Create Tech Products Customers Love by Marty Kagan. He argues that strong product management domain agnostic skills are rooted in discovery, delivery, and customer value, which is funny. He's been writing a lot of blogs, so there's a lot of things tacked on to the end of the book where they're trying to stay at the forefront of this. But clearly, do we need specialists? Product management. I don't know what Marty Kagan's opinion of this would be. That's what the book says. The arguments against you'll hear are, hey, recruiters filter by keywords, not by whatever Marty Kagan says. That's the job, the free market, free market.
Free market indeed. So Marty, I know you're listening. Let us know in the comments below. Get in touch, because we want to hear about what your pivot point might be today since the time you wrote this book back in 2018-ish.
2018,
yeah. I can understand people saying, hey, look, I got to do what I got to do to, even get to the interview, right? So I'm going to sprinkle liberally that juju in my recipe. Oh, okay. You have to meet the market where it is by virtue of branding yourself personally, so that you do get tapped on
blockchain
for that interview. So that's the against in this category.
All the blockchain.
Yeah, all of it. That's right. Blockchain, crypto, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, those are the against. I mean, chasing titles, that treadmill never gets old. So you're gonna stay. Listen, if there's something that I'm going to argue legitimately for on this side, it's going to be, if you're on the treadmill of chasing titles, it goes on and on forever. You're going to stay fit, is what I'm saying. You're going to stay nice and fit because you're going to be on that treadmill running forever because these cycles in tech go on and on and on, and they don't stop. Like the ups and down cycles depend on whatever hype is happening on the market. So I guess if you're saying I'm just going to purely chase hype cycle ups and downs and I'll always be in demand and my skills will always be at the cutting edge, I don't know. Like you kind of got something going for you there.
If you're one of those rare unicorns, please do get in touch because we'd love to talk to you, right? I mean, the hype cycle, you're going to be fit, to your point. Right? You're going to be fitter than the fittest hamster, I guarantee it. Yeah. Because, that wheel doesn't stop turning.
That's right.
And the cash keeps flying out of your pockets. I can envision this, like gold coins flying out of your pockets because you're paying for all these certs every so often.
Are they flying out of your pockets?
I don't know.
Is that where they're coming from?
Wherever they're coming from.
Sorry.
Someone's getting paid.
The hype following doesn't represent deep expertise. The hype following. Okay. That was where I thought your pushback would be centered on.
You're in the pursuit of trying to follow deep expertise, but you don't get it just because you keep getting certs and trainings and whatnot. So that was my point.
Oh boy. Anyway, the smartest move here, I think, anyway, is to build AI literacy and to keep your identity rooted in PM fundamentals. PM fundamentals, which, by the way, Marty Kagan wrote a whole book on it that we just referenced in the opposite end of this podcast is inspired. How to create tech products that customers love. PM fundamentals.
And they haven't changed since 2018, since he penned the book. So in your last statement, you said the smartest move is to build AI literacy and keep true to your identity with PM fundamentals. There's an and there. That's not, comma or, it's and.
Right.
That both sides of that are on an equal footing in my book. PM fundamentals will never change, until something very, very radical comes along, which we can't foresee at the moment.
Oh, I was going to say the lean startup, but never mind. Yes.
Lean startup actually is still rooted in PM fundamentals.
I understand. It was
building AI literacy, the side of the seesaw that is always like higher than the other side, that needs to have equal weight, I think, right? So that both sides are level. You'll always be building AI literacy. AI will change to something else. So build X, Y, Z, whatever literacy. You'll always be doing that. You should at least, you should be hungry enough to learn how these tools enable you to fulfill PM fundamentals. That's the only way, as far as I can see.
So if you're feeling the pressure to rebrand as an AI PM, you're out here on the market.
Take a yoga class.
No. I mean, you should do that anyway because it's great for your posture and your well-being and your health. Okay. But once you're past that, then
you get back home,
then we introduce AI into. if you're gonna build an AI-related case study into your portfolio, here's the way that I would recommend that you go about that. You ready for this riveting advice, Om? Ship something AI-related.
Ship something AI-enabled.
Yes.
AI-ready. Yeah, so I think there's a transition. So if you're a traditional PM who's never worked with AI before, and you're asking them, hey, guess what? Ship something. Like, I'm in for the 2-week, 3-week, whatever learning period, but how, right? So one of the things you could do is have a retrospect on what you've delivered already and figure out how you could have delivered it had it been AI enabled.
Yeah.
Assuming, again, you've gone through your 2-week, 3-week period, you've learned the fundamentals of AI. To say, how could I have done it differently?
Right.
At a minimum, that's going to give you some talking points at your interview if you're interviewing for these AI PM jobs. But also, it will inform how you should be working next on your next product or next, release of the same product, whatever it might be. So think about that. Look back because it's low risk. It's actually no risk because you've already shipped something. So at least have that discussion and be smart about it. All right, and have a discussion with your peers as well, right? Because it's a learning opportunity. So
the other one that I have is to learn the vocabulary of your business domain / product, right?
Yeah.
Well enough that you can at least have a 30-minute technical conversation with a real machine learning engineer or and or data scientist.
Yeah.
Where you're informed and not left behind the dust. That would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. Again, look, we're saying 30 minutes. Again, depending on your domain, 20 minutes is fine.
Well,
because these guys are beyond you when it comes to, the technical domain of AI. Yeah. But you're beyond them when it comes to the impact that technology has on your customers. So if you can talk to that, it's like cogs on a wheel to me. Like these guys will enable you to deliver better value to your customers. So you need to be able to articulate what that value looks like and given the technology. And the two of you can, or however, the two parties, could be multiple people, can come up together with a solution potentially that might actually get you there.
And then my last tip here is when you're asked, hey, tell me about your AI PM experience, or hey, tell me about being an AI PM or what stuck out to you. Something along the lines of the tell me about yourself kind of job interview question. You need to be prepared with some kind of response that says, hey, I'm a product manager who has shipped AI-powered features or has shipped an AI-enabled product, and then to be able to talk about the impact of that product, right? And talk about what went into it and how it helped and how it impacted the customers and how it changed the customer's viewpoint on things, or helped change their perspective, or helped in their workflow, whatever it is.
Yeah, so two things. One, yes, agreed, 100%. But also, it's not just the customer's viewpoint on things. It's also your vendor companies. How did AI help you enable delivery of that value quicker, faster, better, more efficient, more effective, etc. Also, if you haven't done that, so if you've done that, it's fine. It's a slam dunk. But if you haven't done it, look back at your product, have a discussion point in your mind that says, here's how I could have used AI, and use that to illustrate that in your answer, right? Are you an AI PM? The answer always is yes, and I could have delivered my last product had I, AI tools at my disposal in this way. Right. If you haven't, but if you have, then that's the easy part. You could say, here's what I've done, and here's what I could do next.
Yeah. So what do you think at the end of this category? Have you added AI to all of your job roles on LinkedIn in the time that we're talking? And be honest, I want to know.
Yeah, especially if you've got AI parent on your... never mind.
I mean, listen, whatever helps you get the job. So if you found this useful, stick around for our next debate. We're going to talk about hiring managers and what they actually should look for. So we've told product managers not to panic rebrand.
Right.
I think that's what we've said. But what about the other side of the table? So now we're going to talk about if you're a hiring manager for an AI product and your job posting says AI product manager, and you've listened to everything that we said and you're like, oh, I could be in trouble here. you might be filtering out your best candidates and attracting the worst ones with blockchain like spray painted out and AI product manager spray painted in. Is it spray painted? Stenciled in? I don't really know what it is. So we're going to go through what to look for instead. So in escaping the build trap, that's right. We're quoting Melissa Perry on the podcast. Nobody, put all your reservations aside. Nobody can besmirch thine Melissa Perry. All right. So I don't know why I was went Shakespearean all there for a second. In escaping the build trap, Melissa Perry emphasizes hiring for product thinking and outcome orientation over domain-specific labels. That's right. Got two heavy hitters so far on the podcast that are saying, hey, hire for product thinking, not any one specific thing that happens to be flying, any paper airplanes that happen to be in the air at the moment that you happen to look up. Since this is the last category that we're going to talk about, I want to zip through this one as fast as possible because the arguments here are going to be, hey, we need someone who already knows AI. We don't have time to ramp up. The arguments here are going to be the most corporate arguments that I can think of, which is we don't have time to train somebody home. We're willing to pay 50% over the average market to get an AI PM that already knows what they're doing, even if they don't. that we assume they already know what they're doing, so they can come in-house and teach all the rest of our people the best practices of AI. And then we don't have to spend time teaching our people and sending them to class or bringing somebody in-house to coach them, et cetera, et cetera. This is typical corporate thinking would be the first against in this category. Number one, before you jump on that one, the other one would be if I get somebody who's already had experience building AI products at other companies, that reduces the risk of hiring someone who may conceptually have these skills or have learned these skills in their spare time or whatever. I'm going to get somebody who's already been using it at other companies. I already know your pushback's going to be like, this is a whole chicken and egg. Like, we can't all be like, we only hire chickens here. We don't ever want to hire eggs. Right. We don't want to wait on them to turn into chickens, even though we know
they will.
They.
That's exactly right. That was going to be my argument exactly. I mean, we need someone who already knows AI so that we don't have to train them.
10 years of experience. We want
yeah, right. When AI's only been around.
Generative AI, 10 years.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is rife in our industry, right? We see job advertisements like this all the time. The downside to you as a product manager applying for something like this is it speaks volumes about the company. Yeah. They don't invest in training. They expect you to do more than just product management because you're expected to train all the other people that are there who might not just be limited to product managers, by the way. It could be anybody. Is that something you're comfortable with? So that's one thing. I know these companies will say, but hiring AI-specific skill sets is a risk reduction strategy, right? At least we know we're getting people with AI skills. Right. What are their skills in exactly? I mean, you got to deep dive here a little bit. Instead of just looking at their resume that passes muster with your screening tool. You know what I mean?
I do have a good, but I do agree with one of these pushbacks.
But
maliciously.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know. I do agree with one of these pushbacks cynically. That's a good way to say it. We need someone who can quote speak the language to our technical staff. Like the AI product management it's too technical for any one of our generalist PMs, especially at larger companies where the PMs, all these people I see on LinkedIn Learning who's like, I'm a product manager, and they have no technical understanding at all. They are the people, like a year or two ago, we watched on TikTok that go to lunch half the day and then have an hour and a half long handoff with their technical lead, who is their proxy, their go-between to the technical team, and they never talk to a team. The technical lead goes and implements everything in the style thereof, and that's what they do all day.
Yeah.
This is not the normal product manager that I am used to, but there are apparently TikTok tells me anyway, a lot of these people that work at very large companies like LinkedIn and Microsoft and other very large companies. And for them, if I'm gonna actually defend the against points here, for them, the against point here holds very firmly of they have very little technical expertise at all, let alone building AI products, meaning products that are leverage an LLM and the response back sometimes is not quite correct, and then you have to do some other things. And there is technical considerations that a normal product, you wouldn't have to jump through those hoops.
Yeah.
And they may not understand why all of the business that they are bringing forward cannot be served or have to be served in specific ways, or maybe there's extra UI UX has to go into leading the user to help them understand. Anyway, it very technical, not something I could put on one of these folks. If I'm trying to prop up the against points here in a way that it actually defends them, these folks are out there. They work in real product management roles.
Yeah, and some of these folks could also fall foul of some of the illities that Marty Kagan has defined, because they don't have the technical chops, to your point, right? Absolutely. But what do they bring to the table instead?
What do they bring to the table?
What do they bring to the table? Is that worth having also? So are you better off not dismissing these people altogether and simply tapping them and say, look, we need you to learn about these new things, AI related, right? And we'll give you, a month or two. We'll even pay for some of your training. And here's how that can help you, help us. If you can do that, I think you have the best of both worlds.
Sure.
Sadly, most corporations don't do this.
Yeah. I mean, the trade-off here is you'll never know until you give them a chance to learn. Even I am coming down harsh on this class of folks, but you give them a chance to learn, they will surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
If you just hire for AI keywords, you're going to miss people that legitimately can do the job, want to learn, want to expand their skill set, that kind of thing. And you're going to miss out, you know.
Yep.
But you never know. People want to expand their skill set, and you never know what you're looking for, you know. And also the engineering team, they're experts at engineering. They don't need a PM that, you know, can double check their engineering. That's what they have each other for.
Yeah.
And they don't need another data scientist. That's what they have data scientists for. They need you to be the hook that hooks to the business, and that's the main thing.
Any customers, yeah. You're the conduit for them.
And in that, I kind of align with Melissa Perry and Marty Kagan on that one. Is, hey, sure, you can know a bunch of technical stuff. And maybe you even know how data models are built. Great. Not all that is a PM skill.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are mostly in the technical domain quadrant, if we had a 2x2, which I don't for this time. But yeah. So
look at us without our 2x2s.
We don't have a 2x2 today, folks, but next time we'll make up for it with a 3x2 or 3x3.
The takeaway here: write your job postings around problems to solve,
not around
technologies.
Yes.
Yeah, or blockchain.
Yes.
So if you are writing a job posting for an AI PM, blink twice if you're being asked to write a job description against your will. We have some suggestions for you, which is replace AI product manager with a product manager for whatever product or problem or whatever it is in the space that you're trying to solve. Put that in there instead of AI, right?
Right.
And that'll attract PMs to your business domain or your problem domain that you're actually looking for. And then the AI stuff is just like icing on top of the cake at that point, okay? Number 2, in the requirements, you put your 3 years of AI ML experience. Like, instead of that, you put demonstrated ability to learn complex technical domains. And if you want to sprinkle in AI ML a plus or whatever, throw that in there as well. Because the real machine learning folks that are going to be in your career field, they're going to have machine learning. They're going to have ML in their resume because they probably haven't updated a resume in 4 years. And then in the interview, you can give candidates a real AI product scenario. You can say, hey, our model accuracy has dropped 5%. What should we look at? What should we do? And then you can walk through the scenarios. Now, everyone's using AI tools in the interviews anyway, so good luck with that question. But remember, the devil's in the details. So the more details you dig into and the more you guide them,
the bigger the devil?
That's the bigger. That's exactly right. The bigger the devil. I was going to say the deeper the AI, the more tokens you burn from their AI tool.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So all right, I think that was it. Let's land this plane.
That's it. If you're a hiring manager, if you're hiring for AI roles, if you're hiring for product management roles, let us know if there's anything here that you found useful. And remember, like and subscribe because every like helps the podcast. So let's wrap the whole podcast. So we talked about how to spot the difference between a quote real AI PM, whatever those are, and a rebranded job description. We talked about knowing which AI skills actually matter versus what product-specific skills really matter. We talked about evaluating AI in job descriptions and what you should put in there and what you should look for. I mean, AI is real. This is not the AI is a fad that will blow over like blockchain podcast, even though I said blockchain 87 times. I do believe these tools are here to stay, and the more that you integrate them with your normal business processes, the better they will be. But again, note, integrated with your normal business processes and tools and products is the way that these tools are accelerating the workforce right now.
Absolutely. And if you've used or deployed any other ways or methods, etc., that helped you that we didn't cover, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. That is it for this podcast. If you have any other topics that you would like us to cover in the future, or if you have strong reactions to this one, let us know in the comments. Fire off angry tweets at us. Let us know on YouTube. Let us know on LinkedIn. Yeah. Let us know either way.
Either way is good. And if you want to donate some of your Bitcoin, you know where to do that. Thank you.
All of it.